Hi, it's Emily with Emily Talks. So welcome back to my channel. I just have to thank you guys every time that you come back around and you're here again for another video. Thank you. That really propels me into each new day and to exercising my own skills in my life, because I know that I'm sharing an impactful message that I want to change your life. And I'm taking that seriously and I'm changing my life, y'all. It's a great feeling. I hope that this is bringing some change into your life as well. So today I'm going to be talking about setup for success. I'm going to be a little silly today, y'all. I think that I am kind of a little silly in each of my videos, but I don't know, it's part of the lubricant of life. Make it a little bit easier to get by. Just be a little silly. Take things lightly. Feel deeply, think deeply, but don't take it all too seriously. I don't want to get pulled down into the mire from over-investing in any one particular thing. So set up for success, what does that mean? What does that mean? So many of the ideas that I have were actually, they come from my little brother. He and I have this super wonderful relationship that, we were homeschooled together in our middle school, high school years, doing this rigorous philosophy and this rigorous education. And we were, kids with spunk. And we went through a lot of stuff together. And it was deeply impactful. And we created an alliance of two people who deeply, deeply love each other, that have a lot of shared experiences that, I don't know how true this is for other siblings, but the particular circumstances that we were in kind of put us into situations that I think are kind of atypical for children. And we learned how to become stronger individuals by being stronger together. And we have taken that into our adulthood. And, it's a really wonderful and beautiful thing, because we can have deep disagreement and deeply hurt each other because we're imperfect. I know that I have my own fair share of deeply hurting my little brother. And yet we both know that we also deeply love each other, and that comes first. He's the person who connects me with and makes me believe in taking my ideas seriously. I think back to the person that I was in high school, and even earlier than then. I felt. I use the word deeply all the time. I'll need to pull out a thesaurus after this, but this video, you're getting what you got. You're getting what I'm given. And that's all I got right now is I care deeply. I feel deeply and I think deeply. And I have done that since I was a little kid. And it often made me feel other, separate than, which kind of ties into like a neurodivergent experience, which is something that's kind of coming to the forefront these days about what is neurodivergence and what does that expression look like. And some of the experiences that I had made me feel alien and other than other kids around me. But my little brother and I kind of share that, where we both throw ourselves into our experiences and we explore them to understand them. And we also have great passion in our hearts that we also throw ourselves into. And this is something that I'm finding just all across the board with people who are entrepreneurs and creative. They tend to be people who have fantastic passion that they don't shy from. I think that's really wonderful. So, this whole thing right here is tipping my hat to my little brother, who has encouraged me to be exactly who I am and thinks that person is pretty rad. And I believe in myself because he believes in me. I mean, at first, I absolutely have the experience of being this fantastic person. But sometimes life can make it feel like, who am I? Who am I to say that my experience is fantastic or that my ideas are wonderful? I first experience them, they feel fantastic and wonderful, and that propels me into life head first, just with abandon and enthusiasm. But that has to be tempered. You know, I'm not the greatest person that ever lived, and I want to connect with others, and I don't want to be full of myself. But you know, the way that my little brother believes in me connects me with that really wonderful experience that I have with myself. And oh, that's who I want to be, you know? So, now that I'm thinking about it, the wires are a little crossed about who said it first, whether it was in therapy or if it was from my little brother. Because, you know, when I first started going through therapy, my little brother was, you know, first coming into his adulthood. He was in his late teens, you know, graduating high school, doing his first foray into, you know, being in the workforce as an adult and all of these different things, and exploring, you know, who he was going to be. When I first was introduced to this idea of surrounding myself with images of things that, or quotes that inspire me, and that empower me, that lift me up. But I will absolutely attribute it to Ezra, to my little brother, about making it very specific. About connecting my values with what I see. And this ties in perfectly to establishing those neural networks, where I talk about, you know, have an external experience, have external input that connects in my brain to thoughts, memories, feelings, whatever it is. There's the trigger, and I want that to be a positive trigger to positivity in my brain, and to growth mindset, and to thriving and flourishing. And making that very clear about why it's important and why values are important, and surrounding myself with things that are beautiful is important. Oh, I give that to my little brother 100%, because he's the person with whom I truly explored this idea. And so in one of my other videos, I don't even remember which one at this point, because it kind of ended up being a little meandering, you know, a tangent that I went on, which was talking about my setup here. And my setup, I have some ideas about where I want it to go, but where it's at right now, right? I dig it, man. I watch my videos over, by the way. Every single video that I post, I watch at least 2 other times after I've posted it. Sometimes I'll watch it multiple times in a row, because the messages that I'm saying are important to me too. I need the change in my life. They are love letters, man. And they're love letters to myself. And I identify with you. I know that you are just like me. We are having this essential human experience. We want change. You want change, and that's why you're coming here for this message that I'm providing. And why not me too, man? It's my own words. I get so inspired, and it changes my life. And while I'm watching these videos, I'm looking at this background, y'all, because it's my background. It's my setup for success. I'm going to talk a little bit about what each of these things mean to me, about how I decided to decorate my home, why I decided to decorate my home, the purpose of decorating my home, and delve into my experience with it, so that hopefully you can explore what's in your own heart and make that experience for yourself. I will be my little brother today, which just, oh my gosh, that fills me with so much joy. I will be my little brother in your life. That person who can really push you to be amazing, and to love yourself, and to love what is inside of you, and express it on your walls. Have it visually there for you all the time, to build into who you already are and what you love, and make it stronger What a world we live in. I love doing these videos now because I get such a rush. I get such a boost of happiness. And I'm going to come here when it feels crappy too. I'm going to share that with y'all because we do all of it, don't we? The good and the bad, we feel it deeply, and it propels us. So when I first came into this place that I'm living in now, I am living in subsidized housing. I am not currently working. I'm pursuing disability for my mental health struggles because they're significant, and I'm trying to do the 9-to-5 life and, the things that I currently have skills in. And this is debatable, y'all. This is a very deep and complex issue. So, I'm kind of just grazing over the top of it, and there's a much deeper conversation that happens there because what I'm doing right now is productivity. It's something that could earn me money down the road. So this is a very complex question, but as of right now, the way that I was earning money previously doing 9-to-5 type of work, I did not have enough spoons to do that and not neglect my life, neglect my son, my son's life. He is experiencing that generational trauma that I am bringing into his life from the trauma that I went through, and repeating mistakes of the past. And part of those mistakes was not setting him as a priority. I set work as a priority. I set education as a priority, college education, like getting a degree, which I think that that's kind of bogus, but again, subject for another video. But, I put my potential to earn over my love of my own child, my value for my child, my value for my own life. And it was incredibly destructive and corrosive. And I hurt myself and I hurt my son. To me, I'm already a hurt person. To know that I took someone who had already encountered hurt and I hurt them, I was that first encounter of hurt in my child's life, not just a child, my child. It's a crappy way to be. It's a crappy reality to accept. But, with awareness comes accountability. Must first be aware that I did something bad in order to change and do better and think deeply and make a new decision, make a new impact, be the mom that I want to be, and create the future for my son that I want him to have, build him up to be the man that I want him to be. So, I'm in this experience where I'm not currently working. I ended up being in a place that is subsidized housing. And I'm so grateful for the opportunity that I have because of the particular place that I'm in, the time that I was here, the circumstances. It was a perfect storm of opportunity for me to not go back to work and to work on myself and take care of my health so that I can have a better life. And I moved into this place that's just, white walls. It's really white walls. Even if I wanted to paint, I wouldn't be allowed to. I don't really have the money for that kind of crap anyway. But it's really white in here. There's not a lot of character. There were some eyesores around just because it's government funded housing and it's not fantastic. It's fantastic for me though, I'll tell you that. And I looked around the walls and when I first moved into this place, I was still living out of my bed because of all of the medical trauma that I had gone through, really amplified the problem that I had already had, where I would go to work, I would do grocery shopping, and I would go to bed. I would be in bed, I'd stay in bed. I watched TV from bed. I ate from bed. I did all the things from bed. I yelled at my son from bed, let him fail school while I ignored his need to have a present parent who helped him out with homework, who even asked him questions about school. I did all of that from bed. And, going through this horrific pain after my cancer treatment, healing from that, it was the thing. At that point, I needed to be in bed because of the incredible amount of damage that was done to my body. My body needed to heal. You know, I had all kinds of bags hooked up to me and holes in my body and blah, blah, blah. Big problems that were standalone from me being in my bed, but absolutely it furthered the problem. And once I was better and I moved into this place, I was still living out of my bed, and I'm in this house with all of these white walls that just reminded me of the failure of not going back to work. You know, I knew that I was doing something right, but identifying as somebody who cannot be productive is a very, very, very tough thing. The way that I'm able to be approved for disability requires these admissions of helplessness that are really disgusting, and it's hard. And like I said, it's a very complex issue. I don't have answers for all this crap. And I'm still working on what all of this means. But I'm doing the best that I can to live a fulfilling, productive, thriving life from the perspective and capacity that I have, and forget about what I need to prove to the government, because that's such a small slice of who I am and what my life is about. So, you know, I was stuck in bed, and I was like wanting to inspire myself to be out of bed. And I started doing this here on the wall behind here. And y'all might have noticed in the video where I showed that right here, like where the phone is, down below here was this like broken ass couch. Oh God, I need to be careful about swearing, because at some point I'm gonna have to worry about monetization. And I'm so far from that, but I'm already trying to be mindful, y'all. But there was this broken couch, like I took it all apart, and the house was just an absolute wreck. And right now it's not, because Mark and I tackled it yesterday. Whew, what a rush. But when I did that, I like did this little turnaround where I was like, yeah, this is what y'all see. But what I see over here on this other side was all of this chaos. But on the walls, there are glow-in-the-dark stars. I'm a 35-year-old who spent $2 on glow-in-the-dark stars and some sticky tack, and I stuck it all over the wall. And on that wall as well, after I came back from my inpatient treatment back in 2017, I think. Yeah, 2017, I went into an inpatient treatment for mental health for several months. And when I came back, I desperately wanted to connect with my son. And I wanted to reconnect with art, because I could feel I was very broken. And I wanted to bring happiness back into my life. And I made these little posters of two of the YouTubers that we really like. So I've got this Jacksepticeye poster, and I've got an Oompaville poster. Oompaville sadly is no longer what he used to be, which is really, really sad. He was a hilarious gamer once upon a time. And it has all of like these sayings from them, and you know, different games that they've played. And I went deep into creating caricatures of them. And so those are up on the wall with some sticky tack. The wall that's back there is like all brick, so I can't use thumbtacks, which I did on this wall back here. Like this guy right here, hung up with some thumbtacks, y'all. Cheap, yes. So, but does it work? Yes. So on this back wall, I hung up these glow-in-the-dark stars. And do they glow? No, never. Doesn't matter, man. Looking at these constellations that I made every day that I'm doing these recordings, they're kind of speaking to me from behind there. Every morning when I come into my home and, you know, come out into the living room, I'm greeted by these neon points of happiness telling me that it's going to be okay. So I've got my art up there, and I've got these neon stars. This poster right here, this one of Space Dandy, was up on that wall as well. But right here used to be a Rick and Morty poster, but it was disturbing and destructive. And I talked about that in one of my other videos. I forget which one, about Oh yeah, it was the one where I was talking about supporting Tiffany Jenkins, about focus on growth, and having that big poster, you know, post-nihilism, let the world burn and let's laugh about it, Rick and Morty poster that I had up here no longer jived. Well, it absolutely didn't jive with my message for this show, so I changed this up here. So that's why I took that from over there and put it back here. But, you know, I went from having these white walls, these kind of clinical, sorry, I'm a little emotional. When I was in first grade, so I was 6, going on 7, I had to choose. My mom knew that she could not care for me in the way that I needed, therapy-wise, and she decided to put me into a children's home for children who had been abused, so that I could get more help. And part of that was I was given a tour of 2 different places to pick where I was going to live. I was 6. And that's hard, y'all. But one of the places was kind of like this, you know, just those white walls. It was very clinical. I don't know if y'all have seen Girl Interrupted, or she's in like this psych ward that has like these little really plain rooms with these cots. They aren't even really beds, they're just cots. And then these like blue doors or whatever. That's what it looked like. It was a facility for children. It wasn't a home, it was a facility. And that facility, it had like a game room and whatnot, but there were like these windows everywhere, like these big, like all of the rooms had these big windows in them, and it made it look like like observation chambers of children. So they had like a game room and a jacuzzi and all of these cool like little selling points about why it would be so cool for a kid to be there, because they could boast some of these more modern contraptions or amenities. I absolutely didn't want to be there. I ended up choosing a United Methodist Children's Home, where there were like, you know, these large cottages on this really big stretch of land that was really close to, I grew up in Florida, so it was close to natural springs. And there were these huge yards with beautiful old trees. And the beds were real beds, and they had comforters on them, you know, they weren't cots with a blue blanket. I just didn't want to live in the sterile looking place. So I changed it. And I changed it with a few bucks, you know, like these posters and stuff are under $10 a piece, you know. And I just would go here and there and splurge $25 and get a bunch of posters at a time. And I just kept doing that. And I created these walls that they cover up the sterile aspect of them. And every time that I go into these rooms, I would get this like rush of dopamine, you know, endorphins. I just feel really, really good. And I would, even before I was, you know, thinking of it so intentionally as creating those neural networks, I was starting to form that idea of I want to create these new neural networks. But I knew that I wanted to feed in with intention into my sense of joy and my values. And video games are a big part of that. You know, this childish sense of fun. I'd never want to get rid of that. I want to be an 80-year-old lady who, you know, dyes her hair crazy colors and that, you know, you can't take the grandchildren near her because she's kind of losing her mind and says a little bit too many things that are not child appropriate. So I want to be. Yeah. I kind of want to be a kooky little old lady. And I want to be that person now too. I'm just 35. So onto this setup here that I, you know, when I watch my videos, I kind of let my mind just rest on these guys. I'm going to give you an introduction to each of these and what they are. So starting here, this is the biggest one and probably the least meaningful for me. But this is Hatsune Miku, and I kind of like the fact that like her head is cut off, like, you know, Space Dandy here, head is cut off. You can't really see, maybe you can kind of see Hollow Knight over here. Well, that isn't the Hollow Knight. This is just the knight. Hollow Knight is the boss that you fight, but whatever. So all of their heads are cut off, which I think is kind of cool because it's not really about them. This is just about the space that I've created for myself. So I don't actually want to like endorse Hatsune Miku or Miku Hatsune, however you want to say her name. Japanese is funny like that with surnames. I don't want to endorse her. I want to show that I'm somebody who like digs anime and, you know, these little cute girls and stuff like that. And then this, you know, color thing and art style is something that I connect with. It's not really about saying like, I want y'all to connect with this. I want y'all to see me as somebody who, you know, has these impressions in her home. And I want you to find those impressions that are going to be important to you. So, you know, my setup for success, Hatsune Miku, Miku Hatsune, however you want to say her name, she is actually I don't really know how to say it, like a Vocaloid kind of thing, but she's basically AI that, or like a soundboard, a sound generator that sounds like a particular voice that you can be able to feed in like the sounds that you want her to produce at the levels that you want her to produce them. So you can have her sing songs or just make random sounds. And that's who Hatsune Miku is. And there's this really cool thing about Miku, which is that she can be whoever she needs to be in that context. Like you just give her the code and she produces that. And then, but she has like a whole expression of identity, like this outfit that she's wearing and whatnot. That's what her identity looks like, even though she's just a computer program to allow you to create music. And I think that's kind of cool. I kind of want to think about, you know, this person who I am is just the meat suit that holds all of my intentions that I feed into. And, you know, it has its own signature, but it's whatever I put into it. It's all of the things that I choose and I decide and that are expressed through this meat suit of my body, which has, you know, this consistent identity that's kind of non-volitional, like, you know, the way that I look, the way that I sound, blah, 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 all of these things. I didn't do any like crap, you know, I didn't choose my genetics, but I do choose what it is that I create with this meat suit and kind of identify with that. And plus she's cutesy and girly, which I'm not, but I want to be youthful like her. And I want to radiate that joy that she does. So I'll link some of her stuff down there, probably from Anamanaguchi. There's a song that they have called Miku. There's another song that is done with Miku Hatsune's voice. Otherwise, there's some really dark stuff going on with Miku and Dakimakura and, you know, old men who like young anime girls. It's really creepy. So careful with looking up Miku because she's not all cutesy fun and games. At least that's not how she's treated. The other thing right here, I remember when I was talking about my neon light in the other video that I was talking about this setup that I have here, my setup for success. I love coining that term. I just did it for today. But the neon light, I got this from my son's room, and I also got like those neon LED lights that you can like, they tape and you can like put them across the walls and whatnot. So Mark already has that in his room, and he doesn't really spend a ton of time in his room. He doesn't really connect with the art that I put up in his room, that I wanted to create a certain experience for him, but it was really my experience that I wanted him to identify with. So, I pulled some of that stuff down, and Mark is starting to hang his own stuff in his room. I know I talked about this in another video where I was just like really celebrating his success. He hung up a handkerchief from a field trip that he went on that, initially was a point of real big distress for him. And he hung up a shirt from one of his, graduation shirts from elementary school to middle school. That's got his name printed on it along with his other classmates. He hung all of those things up in his room, which were things that initially were upsetting for him. So to see that he chose to put them across his room as a reminder of the good, of things that he truly wants to remember. Oh my goodness, like I'm making an impact in my son's life that is similar to mine, and I didn't do it explicitly with him. It's his own self taking on that thing and doing it in his life. Dude, that just fills me with goosebumps. But yeah, so I took this bad boy from there, and the neon light, what's cool about neon is that the dark is scary, and it's scary because it takes away our ability, one of our strongest tools of survival, which is our ability to take in our senses, conceptualize them, and then make decisions about them. And one of the major senses that we rely on is our sense of sight. So when sight is gone, we are really, really vulnerable. So being in a dark place is a place of vulnerability. And, I was scared of the dark well into my adulthood, like genuinely like not doing okay in the dark. And yet neon light changes the dark from this scary thing to something fun and funky. And, it takes all of those dark spots and makes them something cool to explore, because it's this space between truly light and the mystery of dark, and makes it safe. And I really dig that. And not only that, but like the glowing essence of it, that sense of glowing, it's not just a light, but it is a radiance. And I deeply connect with that, because I feel radiant, and I want that light to shine into your life, and I want that light to shine up my life. So I really connect with neon lights. At some point, I want to get my logo, my Emily Talks, in neon, and replace that here. And that is for sure one of my accomplishments that I want to create in my life through this channel, is earning my neon sign. So super, super great goal for me that is so tangible. It's so visceral, and I'm ready for it, y'all. This bad boy is Space Dandy. So Space Dandy, it's just a great amalgam of really contradictory things that touches a lot of the sense of joy and fun in my life. So Space Dandy is this super misogynist. He's just a bad, like he's a dumb guy that is disrespectful, that is really smarmy and scummy, and he's just out there like kind of like a bounty hunter, like literally he's a bounty hunter, but with no sense of purpose or consistent morality. He's just a dumb, smarmy guy. He's a dandy guy in space. And You know, it's kind of like a space cowboy sort of approach. So you've got this smarmy, silly guy who stumbles upon these situations without intending to, and he's also being sought after by these bad guys for like this really nebulous reason. You can't really understand it, but they definitely like misunderstand who Space Dandy is on a very fundamental level and think that he's like this legitimate threat, which he is not at all. Like it's just so absurd, right? But then when he really needs to step up and do something good, he does it in this really wholesome, essential way. He's still this dumb, smarmy guy, but he's got a real heart of gold. And, you know, it's not accidental like you see in Forrest Gump, where Forrest Gump accidentally does these really great things and he has no concept of it. You know, Space Dandy responds to something within himself, some sense of honor within himself when he does the right thing, that he's not really able to look at too deeply because he's just a dumb guy. But when he needs to, he really steps up. And then he goes back to doing his antics. And I just love the show. I think it's great. You can get it on, I have Funimation. I think you can also get it on Crunchyroll if you're into anime. Those are two really great places to do the needful for looking up anime-like things. So Space Dandy, I super love it. Plus, it's got the kanji here, which is the Japanese, you know, alphabet. It's got the kanji, which I love when I get stuff that was originally Japanese to get posters or artwork or whatever with the kanji versus just the English in it. I think that's very fun. So last and definitely not least, actually last time I did this, I did it from this side over, and I'm kind of sad about that, that I didn't do it the same way this time, but whatever. Miku is just kind of huge. She's hard to miss out on. But yeah, this right here is from the video game, The Hollow Knight. So Hollow Knight is a 2D side-scroller platformer. Well, it's not a side-scroller, it's a platformer. And it's got really tight controls. The artwork in it is gorgeous. Oh goodness, the artwork is so gorgeous. And this soundtrack, y'all, this soundtrack, check out the soundtrack in the description here. Chris Larkin, I will listen to the soundtrack on its own. That and the soundtrack to Toby Fox. Come on, y'all. Undertale, the soundtrack for Undertale. I will listen to those because, and they're very, very different. Chris Larkin is a fantastic musician. Toby Fox is a fantastic storyteller. So that's one of the very few video game soundtracks that I'll actually listen to on purpose, beyond, you know, like 8-bit or chiptune music that I listen to. So check out Chris Larkin's soundtrack for the Hollow Knight in the description. I'll also link out, down purchasing the Hollow Knight from Steam and Switch down in the description. I don't know what other platforms that it's on, but I'm sure that, I mean, I'll probably just link all of the different places where you can get it. Came out in 2017 or 16. It was the same year as Cuphead. So unfortunately Cuphead trumped it as far as reviews and whatnot are concerned. But it is a fantastic indie game. You could beat it within a few hours if you're a really fantastic platformer. If you're not, it'll take a few weeks. And something that's super great about the Hollow Knight is the bumps and skill level. So you get into the game, it's this tight platformer. You're starting off with a limited amount of resources as far as, you know, health and all this is concerned. And you know, it feels tough at the beginning, but enough to get you drawn in. And the very first, you know, ratchet up to have to test your skill level, because I'm not a great platformer, but I totally enjoy some tight controls, y'all, because I know that if there was a mess up, it was my fault 100%. And I know that because it was my fault, I can learn better. It's just a matter of practice. And you know, it's not a matter of trying to figure out and finesse some chaotic system. Tight controls are so this has got it. And as you go through the game, this ratchet up of control, you know, of skill level just skyrockets so quickly. So you know, when you fight the first main boss, which is Hornet, you've got this little dance and weave with her, and you're feeling pretty good about it, and you're like, okay, cool, I got this. And then all of a sudden you fall down through the world into the bottom of this pit, and you're ending up fighting the Mantis Lords, and they whoop your butt so hard, and you'll just throw yourself into them for hours, for days even. You just really get stuck. And once you defeat it, you feel great, and you can really just zoom through the next part of the experience until, you know, you get to the Dung Defender, or you get to the Mantis, the Traitor Lord. And it just that level of difficulty as it ratchets up, it's like a big jump, you know. There's not this incremental thing, and once you master that jump, you could just immerse yourself all over again into the next part of the game, and you just feel like on top of yourself. You feel so accomplished until you hit the next part and you realize, oh my God, I gotta do this again. Like when you hit, you have to fight this one boss, Hornet, twice in the game. And the way that she ramps it up in the second fight just makes you think like, I just beat this girl a while ago. Why is she so hard? It's just so fun. I cannot say enough about it. And it's a Metroidvania, which Metroidvanias, they're based off of like the themes of Castlevania and Metroid, where the world is pretty open, but you can only advance to certain areas as you gain skills or tools. So you can see into certain areas, but you can't actually get there until you have mastered a new skill, gained a new item, whatever the case may be, before you could explore those other areas. So you get to go back through different parts and kind of review how much your skill has improved over time. You have to figure out, the map is not particularly expansive, but it's just enough to get you like, wait a second, where am I going? You know, and it's got a charm system so that you can change out your loadout and play according to your style, whether, you know, you like to, oh my goodness, why can't I think the words? But, you know, if you want to do a magic loadout and rely on spells, or if you just want to tank damage and hit them heavy and be melee, or, you know, something in between. I usually am taking damage until I'm trying to desperately preserve my last little bit of health to get myself through, which that's one of the worst ways to play if you're in a tight platformer like Hollow Knight. So Hollow Knight, super great. It is a post-apocalyptic kind of game, so there's a little bit of deep sadness to it because it's post-apocalyptic. You're wandering through the dead remains of these glorious kingdoms that have fallen to chaos and disorder and mindlessness, and it's sad. And it's philosophical at times. It's pretty philosophical about, you know, what was the right thing, because it's unclear what's the better thing, the thing that is happening currently, or the you know, regime that happened beforehand that fell to this chaos. But you truly are a hero. What you do is heroic in the game, and even though it's kind of too late to save the kingdom in a sense, you still do something incredibly purposeful, and you have moral choice within the game about how you want to complete it. And y'all, it's just great. So if nothing else, check out the score for it from Chris Larkin. If you like video games and you're into platformers, tight controls and platformers in a Metroidvania, check out the game itself. It's going to be down in the description. Y'all, Team Cherry, please, we really want for you to release Silksong. We're looking forward to it. If you guys love the Hollow Knight, you can become part of the community who's desperately waiting for Silksong to be released. But I know it's going to be amazing, and I'm really looking forward to that soundtrack. I'm looking forward to that dropping. Chris Larkin, we need you. So, you know, this is my setup for success. If you made it through, over 45 minutes of me just rambling on about the artwork in my house, that's, you know, it's so relative to myself. Great, fantastic, thank you. I'll try to put like a little placard in the beginning, like, if you don't make it through this video, at least check out the stuff that I put into the description below, because it's going to sum up this stuff back here. Create your setup for success. Create your setup. Set yourself up for success and do it ostensibly. My little brother hates words. He doesn't think that, you know, words themselves should be the way that you remind yourself of your values, that it should be a visual representation, such that the words are implicit within the image. And he is a powerful marketer. He is changing the face of marketing and reaching out to audiences. And oh my God, he influences me in every way, but particularly in how I am able to talk to y'all. How I'm able to talk to you comes from Ezra talking to me about caring deeply about my message and about my ideas, and about your experience coming in and getting these ideas from me, you know, or sharing, wanting to get something from me. So shout out to Ezra, man. He's a great dude. So yeah, figure out that setup. Does not have to be something you spend a lot of money on. I think all of the things all together throughout my entire house was less than $50, putting up these little things and getting thumbtacks and sticky tack and just putting it across the walls, or making your own art. Don't be afraid to copy other people's ideas, like even, you know, trace it and just make an image of it on your wall. You're not selling it, bro, but you want it for yourself. Do that. You know, if you can support the artist, do that too, because artists deserve our support and they deserve to know that we value the art that they do. But if you don't have that ability or capability, make it, man. Your life is worth it. Do it. Set yourself up for success and keep coming back. I really appreciate that you commune with me, and I'm gonna keep working on it. So namaste, my friends, and y'all have a great rest of your week.